Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show today, 30th January 2022. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday and a wonderful month end. I'm sorry to present to you today's show. My name is Azipora Mushala, shortly to be joined by my Miriam Kaimba. So today at 7:30 we're going to be joined by the Apostles Council of Churches Programs Director Reverend Maona Zulu, who's just going to help us discuss the role of the church in governance. Has the church in Zambia been doing enough? What does the church need to do in terms of calling for unity, ending vices like tribalism, and many other things? So what would be your take on that? So once we begin the topic, we're going to open up our phone lines so that you, our viewer, can actually have a say on what we're going to be discussing. And after that, we're going to have another topic where we're going to ask you, our viewer, your take on the cholera outbreak. What is your take on the cholera outbreak that has broken out in Vupwe, with 4 confirmed cases, 7 being investigated, and 1 dead? Just on Saturday, we saw the Republican Vice President Mutale Nalumango cleaning the central business district, of Lusaka, because of all the garbage and indiscriminate waste disposal. So what is your take on the cholera outbreak? We've not experienced a cholera outbreak since 2018, if I remember very well, since 2018, and in 2018, that's when we lost a lot of lives and we recorded over 4,000 cases. But since then, cholera has been on the downside in Zambia. We've not really had so many cases, but now in 2023, we have an outbreak. So what is your take on that? Are we practicing good hygiene? What do we need to do as a people? But before we go any further, please join me in the morning exercise to help us all keep awake, because I know that it's not easy to come from a weekend. So let's just stretch a little bit so that we are in the mood to start the week. Let's have the morning boost.
Hello. It's your boy Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, and I'm saying happy festival season to you. And we are here again at John's Fitness Gym in Kablonga in conjunction with the Camnet TV. And guys, today I am going to take you in 2 variations of deadlift. Apparently we have 3 variations of deadlift. So now here you can just perform 2 types of deadlift. Okay. So first I'm going to start with this usual one, the conventional one, like the most popular. So this one, I'm sure in my previous video you saw it. Chin part of your body, chin body has to be close to the bar. Then your hand has to be outside the legs. Then you hold it nicely. Then pull it up. And then, as usual, the ending part is the core as well as the glutes. So this is the conventional type of deadlifts. Okay. So this was the conventional type of deadlift. So I'm going to show you another one. So this one is called the sumo deadlift. So the sumo deadlift, stand wide. Then instead of your arms to be outside the legs, now they are inside the legs. And the conventional one, you are going to pull down the bar using your back. So now this one, you are using your legs. So it's more like a squat. So you bend all the way. Then So remember, when you go up, the chest has to be out. Oh, that's all for today, guys. You've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy. Remember, it's about your health, and we are here at Chon's Fitness Gym in Kablonga. Say bye-bye.
Welcome back. Quite a good exercise there, and I hope you enjoyed it. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning, Zippo. I enjoyed that morning exercise myself, and you know, today the weather is very, very good. So you know, trying to exercise.
How's the weather good? Here, we're just in there's no shading here. How is it good anyway?
No, despite of load shedding, you know, it's good. At least we have the sun today. It's sunny. It's a bit sunny. I don't know later on the day if we're going to experience the rains. But anyway, so far so good here. Exactly.
And we are quite interesting there. Just now we have the health corner. Let's just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuyana Mfaya. So this week we want to talk about something really exciting. It's something that is really affecting a lot of people. It's a condition that affects men. So we'll talk about prostate cancer this week. This week on the 4th of February, which is going to be a Saturday, will be World Cancer Day, and so we thought, why not talk about a cancer that is affecting many people, especially here in Zambia. So we'll talk about prostate cancer. It's a condition that is affecting a lot of men, and many people do not know that they have prostate cancer, and sometimes this condition is not even diagnosed or realized while the person is alive, and it is only found out that the person had prostate cancer after they have died already. So we'll talk about what prostate cancer is. We'll also talk about some of the signs and symptoms of prostate cancer, and we'll also talk about the risk factors that predispose someone to have prostate cancer, and we'll also highlight how it's diagnosed and the treatment options that are there for people who have prostate cancer, and also how you can prevent prostate cancer. So make sure that you watch all the videos for this week. You're tuned into the Breakfast Show every day, starting from Monday all the way up to Friday. So today we'll talk about what is prostate cancer. So prostate cancer is cancer of the prostate gland, and the prostate gland is a gland that is found in men. So usually it's located just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. So it's a gland that functions in men to help produce semen, and usually when there is accelerated cell growth, so when the cells are growing more than they are dying, because normally in a normal person, cells are supposed to die as they are also regenerating. So some cells are being produced and other cells are dying. But when the rate of cell death is slower, or the rate of cell growth is more, you find that somebody would develop a tumor, which is a cancer. So when that happens in the prostate, then that's when we say that you have prostate cancer. So Prostate cancer, like I have already said, affects a lot of men, and according to the WHO, most men in Zambia have cancer. It's the most common cancer in men in Zambia. So it's important that you know exactly how this condition comes about and how it's treated or how it's diagnosed in the hospital, and what you can do to prevent yourself from having prostate cancer. So this week, that's what we'll be talking about. And don't forget to watch the show, The Breakfast Show, tomorrow again, as we'll be talking about the types of prostate cancer that are there, and we'll also talk about some of the risk factors of prostate cancer. Thank you for watching.
There you have it, quite interesting. I hope you have learned one or two things there from the doctor who was talking about prostate cancer. I hope you have taken into consideration whatever the doctor has highlighted in there. And thank you so much, Doc. They have been doing a very, very recommendable job, Zipporah, in bringing these healthy tips to us who don't like going to hospitals. At least we'll be able to learn one or two things there. We are glad. But anyway, right about now, we'll go direct into our money market so that we see how the kwacha is performing against other currencies. So there we have the one United States dollar buying at 18 kwacha 75 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 12 ngwe. Zipporah, before I read out the rest of the figures there, look, already, I predicted last week that, the dollar will be selling at 19 kwacha, and it's already at 19 kwacha.
That is worrying. So now we're just praying for it not to reach 20 kwacha, because that would be really scary, Miriam.
But, if we observe, we take note into consideration of what is happening, it's possible by next week we might reach to 20 kwacha. But anyway, we hope that we see a better thing coming ahead of us. And we have the euro there buying at 20 kwacha 39 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 79 ngwe. And then we have the South African rand, they are buying at 1 kwacha 09 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 11 ngwe. We have the British pound, they are buying at 23 kwacha 22 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 69 ngwe.
Quite interesting there. So just hope that this will not impact the price of commodities. And like I was saying, I'm just glad, like when it comes to things like fuel, the drivers have just decided to maintain the same prices for the sake of consistency, not today increase, tomorrow reduce. I think we're grateful for that. So it means if they reduce, they're making a profit. Yeah, and
exactly.
if they increase, they're making a loss. But I'm just glad that at least something is consistent. So we have to watch our kwacha there. That's quite scary for us as ordinary citizens there. Very, very. We are already experiencing, a lot of things, prices of commodities going up. Basically talking about our staple food, which is mealie meal. Anyway, we saw different government ministries. I was attending a press briefing where we had Commerce Minister, Chipoka Mlega, who said, starting this week, we'll be able to see a reduction in the price of the mealie meal. But anyway, we hope to see that, because at the moment, if you check in these some outlets, in Lusaka, Zipporah, 25 bag of mealie meal was trading at 210. Others 220, others 230. In fact, that's much better, Miriam. Is it last week at a press briefing, we heard from Tabo Kawana, who was saying, in is it Mwand and Changombo, 25 kg bag is going for 300 kwacha and 280. Wow. So because those are far-flung areas. So anyway, like they said, that was caused by traders that had bought from FRA taking advantage of the fact that FRA, closed sales, and so now they were selling to millers, because the time when millers bought maize, they only bought like for their storage capacity. So when it ran out, they now had to buy from the traders who had bought the maize at 4,000 kwacha per metric ton, and now taking advantage that FRA has closed, they were selling to them at 6,000 per metric ton. So they in turn had to respond to the price that they bought it. But then now, last week we heard from the Ministry of Information saying FRA is going to start selling maize to millers, directly to millers. So we hope that, there's going to be a reduction there. Anyway, just now, Miriam, we move right to our, first interview, where we're joined by the Apostles Council of Churches, Programs Director, Reverend Mwaona Zulu, to just help us discuss the role of the church in governance. What role is the church taking in Zambia? Previously we had, instances or reports of churches taking brown envelopes and compromising. But really, what is the state of the church today? Are they condemning what they need to condemn? So let's just have a short break and join us on the other side. Please call us and participate.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
The campaign period for the 2021 general elections was a fully charged political atmosphere as political parties tried to woo voters in a tightly contested race. Named politicians in the quest to gain numbers, however, allegedly uttered tribal remarks to gain political mileage using various media platforms, both traditional and social media. The Zambia Anti-Tribalism Youth Organization, ZAITO, has however noted that the named individuals who are reported to the Zambia police by different concerned citizens, including the organization itself after the general elections, have not yet been called for questioning, posing as a source of worry towards the fight against this vice in the country. ZAITO chairperson Joshua Sondashi was speaking to Camnet News.
So we spotted the remarks from Biswell Mtale, we spotted some tribalism remarks for Madam Dola Silia. We also got some remarks from Chimba Kambwiri. So we have the footage of these remarks. They are exposing themselves actually in different medias. And as an organization, we found some for reference for future use. So these are some of the cases that we reported to the police at Hoodlands and HQ headquarters itself right there. So they are pending.
Meanwhile, organization publicity secretary Dixon Zulu has highlighted the negative effects of this vice.
As a nation, we are very much aware of the past incidences, especially during elections. We have had a lot of challenges in terms of tribalistic remarks, both by opposition parties, the then opposition parties, and even the current government. Some leaders were gotten or spotted in using tribalistic remarks. Nevertheless, as a publicity secretary, my role is very simple. I will endeavor to support and bring in my level best so that we can, together as a nation, we can fight tribalism.
The organization now says it will write to the Inspector General of Police, Lemi Kajoba, so that the reported individuals can be called for questioning. They have called for the arrest of all those found guilty to warn would-be offenders. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. Quite interesting there. That was a story from the Zambia Anti-Tribalism Youth Organization, Zato, just talking about the issues of tribalism in Zambia. And this brings us to a topic where we're talking about the role of the church in governance. So we officially opened our phone lines just now, and do call us on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or leave us a message on Facebook as you participate in today's topic. What are your expectations from the church in terms of governance? Are we united as a country? Is the church speaking out enough? And so in studio to just help us discuss the role of the church in governance, we're joined by the Apostles Council of Churches, our programs director, Reverend Mauna Zulu, to just help us in today's topic. Good morning, Reverend, and welcome to the show.
Morning, thank you.
We are glad to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
How is the weather like?
The weather is good, especially for the farmers, giving them time to do their work.
Interesting.
Quite interesting there. Maybe just before we begin, when people hear Apostles Council of Churches, everyone is getting confused. Is it new apostolic? What kind of council is it? Maybe just break it down for our viewers. What really is Apostles Council of Churches?
Thank you. The Apostles Council of Churches is an organization which is a mother body, and then also it's not the apostolic church, or it's not the council for the apostolic church mission. It's an organization which is a mother body. When I talk about the mother body, is an organization where the churches are affiliated to. Therefore, the Apostles Council of Churches governs the churches, supervises the churches to see to it that the church runs according to the regulations of the laws of Zambia, then also follows the principles of the Bible.
Okay, so which churches are affiliated to the Apostles Council of Churches?
We have many churches. The founding church is, which is the founding church is the apostolic, not apostolic church, but it's one of the churches of the Pentecostals. And then also a lot of churches are Pentecostals actually. One of them which can shun away from the Pentecostal churches is the church which is meeting on Saturdays, which is away from SDA. It's a breakaway actually from the SDA. That's what we can say. It's not the Pentecostal church, but all the churches, the affiliates, are from the Pentecostal churches.
Interesting. Let's go direct into our topic of discussion this morning: the role of the church in governance. We saw prior to the 2021 general elections where the church somehow was divided. We had Christian for this person, Christian for what. Is the church doing enough to ensure that it brings unity and work on these issues, talk against these issues such as violence, tribalism, and so on?
Before I answer that question, let me talk about the governance itself. What is governance? Governance, in simple terms, is the process in which the decisions are made. The process itself, where decisions are made, that's what is called governance. Then also it's a process by which decisions are implemented. Then also it's the executive power to see to it that the decisions are made. Therefore, who are the makers of the decisions? That's what we are talking about. Therefore, as Zambia, as you know that it is a Christian nation, without Christianity, then there is no governance. The governance of Zambia comes in where Christianity is the source or the base of the government. Therefore, we are lucky that since the independence, all the presidents that we've been having are Christians actually. Therefore now, if we talk about the Christians for this, Christians for that, then also looking at what is happening where the church is concerned to bring in the church, I want to tell you that by then we can say the church didn't do much. But as we are speaking now, the church is doing its best to see to it that Zambia remains a neutral body, to see to it that the government is on track. This now entails me to say, as a church, there is no Christians for Moriokela. There is no Christians for Chishimbakambwiri. As at now, that base is over. That season is over. For now, we only have Christians for Christ. And therefore, this Christian for Christ, the body of Christ, is monitoring the church and also is engaging the church. The government. The Christians for Christ is the one now monitoring the government if it is doing its work or not. It is this body of Christ that is monitoring the politicians. Are they in order or not? So we are not only looking at the government, we are not only looking at the politicians, but we are looking at the government or itself. To see to it that the government and the politicians, all the political parties are in order. Yes.
Quite interesting there. Now we have a question from one of our viewers here, Mr. Macmillan Wembia, who says, we have seen some churches entertaining politicians at the pulpit. What is your take? Maybe your response to the viewer.
That's very, very wrong, actually. And also, let me appeal to the politicians. Don't take the church or the pulpit to be a platform to air out your anger, to air out your views, to air out your grudges. The pulpit is a holy place. This is where God and man are meeting. Therefore, we don't expect a politician to go onto the pulpit and begin to speak politics. If a politician, to all the churches, if a politician come to your church, let him come to listen to the word of God. Let him come to hear the counsel from above, not to speak about politics. That is denting and defiling the pulpit itself.
Just a follow-up question on that. Don't you think it's the church which has given this politician a leeway, to entertain them so that they find themselves in those at that pulpit and, find a chance to say whatever they want to say, advocate, campaign for themselves? Don't you think the church is somehow to be blamed because they have given this platform to these politicians?
The church is to be blamed, not the church itself, but the leaders of the churches are to be blamed. Then also politicians are to be blamed. When it comes to the body of Christ or to the leaders of the church, you know that as a human being, we can't run away from the fact that at one point you may cling to one political party. Therefore, because you have friendship with the politicians, then at the end of the day, no, we are coming to visit you. Then they come. Now, because of that friendship, you begin to bring them now to the pulpit, then find that they air things that you did not expect. Therefore, what is my advice to the leaders of the church? My advice is, as a man of God, you are not to fear a politician. Then also, as a man of God, you should know where you are standing. When it comes to the pulpit, you don't compromise. You don't bring in friendship. You don't bring in relationships. But you have to see to it, this pulpit is not mine. The platform is not for the politicians, but it's for God himself. So the church is to blame, and also politicians are to blame, because the politicians know if there is a place where they can campaign is from the church, because that's where they see that a lot of people are. When you touch the church, you go to the church, you meet everyone. Therefore, the ministers also of the gospel should be very, very careful not to entertain politicians. Therefore, and I can assure you that today we have seen a lot of changes when it comes to the politics. Now the clergy, their eyes are open. Whether you are related, you are friends, you are what, but when it comes to the word of God, when it comes to the pulpit, they don't give it easily. Unless otherwise. But what I'm seeing now, there is a big change.
Okay, we also have another message here from one of our viewers who says, Zambian Pentecostal churches are now a business. Maybe just before you respond to this viewer, although it's more like a statement than a question, this brings me back to the 2021 elections. What do you think has made the church in Zambia deteriorate to the point that people are now, I don't know if I can say, having their own visions where because they support someone, they'll say this person will win, that person will win. Where do you think the church has gone wrong? Maybe in response to this, who says Zambian Pentecostal churches are now a business because we find that maybe these people are making these prophecies to get some money. So where have we gone wrong as a country, and what do we need to correct? This notion of not trying to make money from the church.
This is where now the mother bodies comes in. In Zambia, each and every church should belong to a mother body. Then the duty of the mother body is to supervise the churches, to see to it that they are doing things according to the Bible, and also that they cling to the law of the land. Therefore, to answer this question, I want to tell you that not everyone who is called as a prophet is from God. Not everyone called a man of God is a genuine man of God. We have so many counterfeits. The devil also is at work. In those days, we used to have magicians, so to say, who used to go around in the schools doing magic. But now the magicians, they have seen that now people have become more knowledgeable about God. Therefore, they know that being to go to the magicians is totally satanic, it's totally witchcraft. So, therefore, because of that now, what has happened is that the magicians have run into the church. As they have run into the church, now they are doing what they used to do. Others are coming up prophets when they hear about the miracles and these happenings where people are making money. They rush now for charms. They rush now for falsehood. And at the end of the day, find that now these are the prophets that we are having. This is where now business comes in. So others, for sure, they are there for business. But I want to tell you that true prophets, true men of God are there. This is not the beginning, but it started a long time ago.
Now, maybe just going back to the same issue of the 2021 general elections, you saw a number of prophecies that did not come true. Zambia being a Christian nation, should we introduce a law, maybe which, tries to bring these people to book, to make sure that they no longer, try to dupe people or try to make, a business out of people? Do we need such a law saying if someone prophesies, Zambia being a Christian nation, I know it's, but you've seen that this has become a habit. We've also seen an infiltration of prophets, maybe from Nigeria, from wherever, yes, who come and make all these proclamations just to make a business and to dupe people. We even saw one man who was deported, is it Elie, who was trying to make miracle money. The popular one called, is it Sia1? So really, what can we do to actually regulate this? Should we introduce a law to make sure to say if you are trying to make money of, lies, you will be arrested?
I want to tell you that the law is there and the guidelines are there. This is why you saw some people being deported. Some were even denied when they reached at the airport. They were sent back because of coming here to do business over the church. Therefore, it's not the issue of no matter how you can bring in the law to say we are banning, we are punishing, we are doing this, but let me tell you that these are last days. False prophets, whether we like it or not, they shall be there. And these false prophets, actually, let me tell you, it's not about speaking the prophets which does not come to pass. But remember about the magicians. Remember about these people who are in occultism. They'll prophesy and things comes to pass. And at the end of the day, you'll find that people say he's a true prophet because they told him what came to pass. Therefore, when you talk about the elections, let me talk also about the issue of in the times of Moses in the Bible, where Moses, when God sent Moses to take out his people from Egypt, the Bible says that God commanded Moses to lay down the rod and it became a snake. And then also the magicians did the same and the snakes came in. But the snake of Moses ate out the snakes of the magicians. So we are here, it's only us, the Christians and the Zambians, to see to it that number one, before we believe anything, let us pray about it. Number two, before we allow anyone to prophesy in our lives, Let's pray about it. It's all about prayer. So false prophets are there and they shall be there because we are living in the last days. Yes.
Did we do ourselves a disservice as Zambia by scrapping off the Ministry of National Guidance and Religious Affairs?
The ministry itself was not scrapped off because the department is there. So it's a good thing that we still, the government that has come in, as the head, you hear a lot of things and also you see a lot of things. Therefore, pertaining to what you see and what you hear makes you to make a decision. This is why the government came in to say we are making a decision. We are dissolving the ministry, but we are shifting it to department under the vice president, which is a good thing. So we are happy that the Department of National Guidance and Religious Affairs was not terminated completely, but it is there. And this is where all the church mother bodies and all the churches now belong. I want to report to you that we are in interaction. We are talking over the affairs of the nation with the vice president herself. Is engaged in all the matters pertaining to the governance of the nation, pertaining to the Christianity. So the department is there and it is still running.
Have we seen it being proactive?
Proactive,
really?
yeah.
When something happens, just in September, we had the so-called Dusaka July in September, where we saw, men dressing like women. We did not see any comprehensive statement. The only statement that we saw was from the former minister, Godfrey Smiley, condemning those acts. We did not see that department, coming to speak out. We've only seen individual people. But is it working to the people's expectations?
It is working according to the expectations of the people in such a way that when that happened, when this thing was going on, afterward, the government, actually, the vice president called for the meeting. He called all the mother bodies to hear their views. And then also the vice president, Her Honor, issued the statement to say this is not good, and as a nation we are against this. And for us, if the vice president can speak over it, it means the church has spoken. And all the mother bodies actually representing the churches, they spoke against it. Therefore now it's the issue of next September. We are not expecting that to happen again, because we are moving in as a church. Whatever is supposed to be done will be done. I want to assure you that that kind of nonsense in the nation will not take place.
Do you think there's need for us to reintroduce the Ministry of Regional Affairs?
On that one, it takes the government itself. I cannot speak to say it's needed or it's not needed. But as a church, I want to tell you that
what is your view?
My view as a church or as a person, for me, both it's working well. To have a minister, it's fine. Then also to have the vice president herself to stand in for the church, it's very, very good.
Let me take you back to what you said earlier, that we have laws which would prevent certain foreign profits to enter the country. But have we put in stiffer measures or surveillance on who enters the country and for what intentions, so that we do not see these fake prophets, as we might call them or address them, in coming to dupe people or make business in Zambia? Because you would agree with me that they would take advantage, because we have already declared our country as a Christian nation.
Number one, we need to put our house in order. Someone from abroad, out of the country, cannot come inside the country minus the insiders themselves. So we are the causers, allowing the foreigners to come in and dupe people. Why? Because Zambians themselves are duping their own people. So we need to stiff laws. We need a stiffer punishment, or a way of restraining people from duping people. This is why now it's an appeal to the mother bodies. Are you supervising your churches? What kind of churches are affiliated to you? Especially like the Apostles' Council of Churches, because this drama is happening especially in Pentecostal churches. This is why you see a lot of things, people eating grass, doing that. I'm just from listening, reading from a post where someone went to the mountain. The case was in material court, and then he woke up. He found that all the clothes are removed. Then he found himself with tattoos, and this is a man of God where they went to pray on the mountain. Such kind of things. So as a board of Christ now, as the church mother board, you need to follow up this case to say, who is this pastor? Then at the end of the day, suspend this ministry and suspend this pastor. Then we'll solve the problem. At the same time, this is why, as the Apostles' Council of Churches, I want to tell you that we are training pastors, we are training leaders, we are training church workers, even ushers, when it comes to governance.
Quite interesting. Then let's just take a look at a story actually which we did on that. We had an interview where you were indicating that you're training some church leaders to make sure that they have this capacity, and this story was done on 24th November 2022, and you just did a story on church leadership. Let's take a look at that.
Then for the pastors, I think we have heard a lot of stories concerning the pastors, the issues of money, the issues of rituals, the issues of sexual harassments and these or pregnancies and all these issues. Each and every church, you find that there are people from UPND, from PF, from PPZ, from all political parties. Therefore, if as a leader you point to one political party, you injure the other members of the party. I mean the party, because there are many political parties in the church. In fact, all political parties are found in one church. Therefore, it's very, very important for the pastor not to bend to one political party, because the church is the mother for all the political parties.
Quite interesting there. Now, Reverend, there you were indicating the need for pastors, to go through some type of training. But you think they're willing to go through training, like when they're making a business out of whatever they're doing? For example, let me say in Rwanda, we've seen the president there, Paul Kagame, banning, just let's say, banned about 6,000 churches. He closed them down because after, investigations, and they found that these churches are just, a business, a money-making business. Do you think Zambia needs to take that step as well?
I think Zambia needs that step very, very much because of what is happening in the nation. People are just waking up, just had a dream to say, oh, I need to open a church. Then they will just go to the mountain, start praying and start telling people, no, this Facebook thing that has come up now, you just start praying on the Facebook, then you know how people are. Then they begin to stream, and others will go to seek for charms. They don't have even for qualifications to be in that office. So we need that in Zambia. Not necessarily maybe to ban churches, but to see to it that pastors go for training, and all fake pastors are removed from the nation because they've dented our nation.
Maybe
one would argue that
Jesus
you don't need
Jesus
didn't go for training. He didn't have any qualification, and if you are called by God, why should you have this certificate and go for this training? One would argue.
That's the problem that we have actually, especially for those pastors who have not gone to school. The calling without a training, it's a danger.
They say, I'm trained by God.
I'm trained by God, by the Holy Spirit.
If they are trained by God, this is when now you see that when the doctrine comes in, you see them doing things away actually from the Bible, because whatever they will think, they will say, no, God has revealed to me that I should do. I should take people to the mountain and anoint them. There are a lot of drama that is taking place where the anointing is. People are abusing because in the name. I have one who said, I don't need training because God has trained me. And now look at their doings. You can see to it that people are very far away from God. Anointing minus training is a very, very dangerous thing in this life. All we can say is the government should come in and put in stiffer laws when it comes to pastors. They have abused the anointing.
Is it because of such? Is it the reason why we have seen certain pastors aligning themselves to certain political parties because of such having lack of these certificates and other stuff or other trainings?
Number one, it's because of money where money is concerned. They will speak things to please a person because they know that at the end of the day, a brown envelope will be given. Number two, they know that if such people comes into power, such and such things will not take place. So shunning away or running away from the truth, they'd rather go for a lie or for fake. So this now applies to the politicians themselves to say, what discipline do you have for the church? Not necessarily disciplining the church, but the governance itself. Because when it comes to the government, you have to see to it that all departments are in order. We thank God for the government, the previous government, which had come in to put in certain rules and the do's and don'ts. We thank God for the government which is in now, because they have done the do's and don'ts for the pastors and to see to it that they are under supervision. But now it goes back to the mother bodies, which are the caretakers of the churches. This is where the blame goes. Because it's more like the mother bodies have left the churches to operate on their own. The church mother bodies should go around in their churches, in fact, even sneaking in their prayer mountains where they do the prayers. When you see certain things, ban them, remove them from the mother body. They can't go to any other mother body. That's what should happen.
Talking about the mother bodies, do you think you have done enough? Or many a times that we don't see certain statement coming from the mother bodies condemning about such situation, but mainly when it's during towards the political period, especially when it's the general elections, we see them coming out strongly in condemning certain things. Don't you think this is the time now to condemn certain things that they might be seeing before we even approach the elections, where they would now want to speak out because they want to show that they're trying to unite the country and stuff like that? Don't you think they need to start doing that now?
The church should start their job now. Not only that, remember the role of the church when it comes to governance is not just to watch and see. The church should pray for the government of the day. The church should pray for the politicians. Then you will see peace in the nation. Then also, apart from that, the church should engage the politicians. The church should engage the government itself. Where the government goes wrong, the church should go and speak out. Now, what I have discovered is that when there is a problem or when there is something that is happening, the church will run to the media and begin to speak about these things. Now, the question is, as you are speaking on media, have you engaged the government? The answer is no. Why? Because they want to win mileage. That is all. It's more like now, this one belongs to this political party or support this party. Now, this one, if it makes mistake, instead of going there to say, oh, here you are wrong, they will go to the media to say, oh, this political party is wrong, or this government is wrong. But what the church should do, starting from now, it's when they see a problem, they should go there and engage. Oh, here, government, what you are supposed to do is ABCD. Here you have gone wrong. I think you should do this. Then the government will be able to respond and also erase that problem. If the political party has gone wrong when it comes to hate speech, when it comes to all these fightings that is going on there, the church should go there to say, oh, sir, here you are wrong. Oh, madam, here you are wrong. What you are supposed to do is ABCD. If to get the political parties and the governing party, put them together, talk with them, then it should be done. Unlike where you will see the church going to the media direct, that is very, very wrong. So we have not seen much when it comes to the church to involve itself in all these issues. Therefore, we want to see much where the church should be engaged. Not only when it comes to elections, even those period when you are running to the elections, you will not see the church engaging the politicians one-to-one. You will see the church coming to the media as if it's a political party. That is very, very wrong. And this has brought a problem in the country because the government is depending on us. Politicians are depending on us. All of them are waiting for us to find a solution.
Can we now safely say, Reverend, that the church is failing the country because they are not doing all those things that you have mentioned? Can we safely say that they have failed the country?
We cannot say the church has failed the country because the church cannot fail. You know where God is. God has not failed and God will not fail. So therefore, the church should engage much. They have done it, but they have to extend their work. They have to go further. Then we'll see peace and we'll see unity in the nation.
Quite interesting there. We do have another message from a viewer who says, when will the National House of Prayer be complete? Kindly ask on our behalf. Anyway, that is not under your jurisdiction. I know that. But anyway, what would you like to see in terms of, the National House of Prayer?
The National House of Prayer actually is under my
it is? Okay.
Yes. Because remember that as the Apostles' Council of Churches, we are also in the organizing committee of the National Day of Prayer. And as we are speaking now, every Friday, the National House of Prayer, the National Organizing Committee for the National Day of Prayer, we meet every Friday for prayers, praying for the nation, and also to see to it that the house is completed. And I want to tell you that the house will be finished very, very soon. We are engaging, like what I said, there are things, we are not people that we should rush to the media before engaging the government. But we are working hand in hand with the government to see to it the National House of Prayer is completed. And I want to assure the nation, the National House of Prayer will be completed very, very soon. The Board of Christ, the mother bodies, and the government are working together to see to it that the National House of Prayer is completed. I think you know that the government is less than 2 years in power. Therefore, there are many things that are supposed to be tackled. They cannot rush to do such into other things. But we are working on it, both the church and the government.
So really, what has been the problem? Because we've seen this thing even being politicized. What has been dragging? Is it a lack of funds? What has caused it, to delay?
What has caused the delay?
What has caused the delay is the change of government. When there is a transition, there are a lot of things to be put in place for all the projects to be completed. It's not only the National House of Prayer. We have the roads. I think you have seen where the roads are suspended. There are a lot of infrastructures that are suspended, but now they have resumed. Even as other infrastructures have resumed, the National House of Prayer also will resume very soon. But the government is putting things in order. This is what has caused the delay.
Maybe you can help set the record straight. Others have, tried to politicize this and say the move to construct this house of prayer was done on a political motive. Would you kindly set the record straight?
You cannot stop a person to think what he wants to think. Then also from the views of people, you are able to get something. But what I want to tell you is that Zambia is a Christian nation, covenanted with God. Then also, Israel is the nation that belongs to God. And in Jerusalem, there is a temple where all the provinces of the Holy Land go there, even up to date. This is why now Zambia also has chosen to build a temple where all the provinces in Zambia shall rush to the National House of Prayer to have prayers, because we are in covenant with God. So this is a national house of prayer for the whole nation. And if the nation can build a national house of prayer, a national altar, the nation has got a national altar. I want to tell you that Zambia is blessed. This should not be politicized. It was not done under the political mileage, no, to win people to do what, no. God can use anyone. God will use anyone to do what he wants to do. So this was ordained by God before Zambia came into existence.
Now we also have another issue here in Zambia where you find that, for example, I'll just give an example of the two political parties, the major political parties, the PF and the UPN, you find that the whole year, they're having this conflict, and then on 18th October, everybody, shakes hands, and after that, the things continue. What is your view on that? Is it that maybe we need more days of prayer, or what is your view on this conflict that never seems to be resolved?
This issue now lays on the church itself, because as the National Day of Prayer Committee, the executive, we sat down and deliberated that all politicians should attend this day. And we invited everyone, actually, the government, the political parties. Now, when it comes to PF and the UPND, you know that PF is the former ruling party. UPND is the ruling party. They still have issues among themselves which are going on. This is where now the church comes in. The church should come in to see to it that these two major parties are in peace. If the former ruling party and the ruling party cannot work together, then we'll have a problem in the nation. Because the PF has got a bigger number of people, UPND has a bigger number of people. Therefore, it means you are dividing the nation. Therefore, the church, which is the mother of all politicians, should come in now to get UPND, to get PF, sit them together and unite them. So this calls for the body of Christ to bring in the two parties together. And I want to tell you that this will happen because we have seen PF and UPND in other provinces shaking hands, working together, doing things together. And we shall see it even in Lusaka.
But during elections, they beat each other.
During elections. In fact, in 2021, before the elections, we saw them coming together, shaking hands. But during the elections, it was something else.
What happens is lack of understanding one another. Then secondly, is lack of forgiveness. It's like marriage. Marriage should differ today, but doesn't mean that the difference should continue. The Bible says, be angry, but let not the sun go down whilst you are still angry. So as a Christian nation, we appeal to politicians, don't hold grudges. This is what is destroying the nation. Zambia is very different from other countries. We are enjoying peace, not because we want to enjoy peace, but because of God who is watching us. In whatever we are doing it for God. So if I anger you, then you are angry. 1 week you are still angry because I did something wrong against you. Then you are not doing things for me, but you are doing things against God because God is watching you. Same as to me. So when we have difference, I know that when it comes to elections, people will differ. But after elections, let's accept who has won, who has lost. Then let's accept who went wrong and who did right. Then we come together. So, no, my brother, I'm sorry. Here, I went wrong. Forgive me. Then also, I have been asked to forgive. I should forgive. Then from there, you'll see the country enjoying the peace.
Mm-hmm. How do you? I'll ask this question again. How do you think we can be able to ensure that this peace accord?
Well, we have a call, Reverend. We have a caller.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
We seem to have lost that caller. Please do call us back. You can go ahead, Miriam.
Yes, Rev, my question is, how do you think we can maintain this peace accord? Because before the elections anyway, near to the election, we always see these political parties, especially the major political parties. I'll cite an example. In 2021, we saw the UPND and the PF signing a peace accord to ensure that there's peace during the elections, but it was something else. Do you think these peace accords that are being signed by the politicians is just a way of, just for formality's sake, without putting the actual thing into implementation and ensuring that there's peace at the end of the day?
It's not just to a mere signing for peace accord. I want to tell you that anything that happens is because of God himself. Mm-hmm. So God is the one who influenced the politicians to come together and sign the peace agreement. Therefore, now what happens? The enemy is very much against that. So today, they will agree to say, okay, let's sign the peace agreement. It is done. And that actually, they meant it. It was not a lie. They meant it. But now the enemy brought in issues that disturbed it. And everybody now goes his way. What should we do? Number one, the church should pray. Number two, the church should bring the politicians to understand the word of God and the goodness of God, that God is involved in the issues of Zambia. Then we'll see peace reigning in this nation. So prayer is very cardinal. Then also dialogue is very, very cardinal. Where they have seen that, these people signed peace, and it has gone now it has gone away from what they agreed. Then it's the church now to see to it to say, here something is wrong. Who has gone wrong? Call that person and call this one. Vane, we signed peace here. We have a peace agreement. This is very, very good. And therefore, you went wrong. But now the problem is where you want to please man. That's what the problem is. If somebody has gone wrong, point it out, say, here you have gone wrong. Not on the media, but one-to-one. Then you'll be able to see peace in Zambia.
Now, Reverend, we've seen, attempts to bring this dialogue, but it has failed. What do you need to do as a country? We've been involved ZCID, to bring this dialogue. People refuse to meet, people don't bring.
Even working away. So,
what do you need to do as a church, or maybe do you have as a church, as the mother bodies, as you say, do you have any plan to bring this
anyway, let's
together?
pick up this cause before you. Please go ahead. Who are we talking to this morning?
Yes.
Can we know who we are talking to?
I'm talking to Mr. Mwanzani Kafo.
It's good to know that Kafo is watching us. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
The biggest problem with the churches during elections, they become divided because of the issue of money. The issue of money is dividing the churches. Then if you look at what happened previously, you find bishops are supporting the coming back of the data to start mining in Zambia because of the money. Wrong things, they are supporting wrong things. The coming back of the data, which is to start mining in Zambia, which is to start mining copper in Zambia, which is a diminishing asset. That's the end of our mining. That's the end of our mining in Zambia. Because when they come back, so this is the biggest problem. The churches, they have stopped praying to God. They are looking for money elsewhere. So the churches must be cancelled also.
Thank you so much for your contribution, sir.
Yes, churches must be cancelled. The reverends must be cancelled to stop that happening.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Maybe you can just acknowledge his comment as well before you respond to Zibora's question.
Okay. What the caller has said is very, very true, where he says the church is diverting it because of money.
Especially during the election period.
Especially during the elections. But I want to assure the nation that what used to happen will not happen again. Why? The government itself is moving away from the church. The government says we don't want to interfere with the church. Let the church be independent. That's very, very good. And I can attest to that I have seen it because I've sat in the meetings both with the government and with the church, and I've seen the independence of the church. Therefore, I want to assure you that what used to happen where the church bends to one political party, this time it will not happen. The church will play its role to see to it that becomes the mother of all political parties, and see to it that we are not bent on money. Money is not an issue. Therefore, it's also to the political parties and also the government to see to it that the falsehood now, the false prophets, does not come in. Yes.
Quite interesting there. Now, maybe just back to our earlier question where we were saying we've seen attempts for this dialogue. What do we need to do as a country to make sure that the dialogue happens?
The dialogue will happen.
Is it this year?
This very year.
How as a mother body going to ensure?
Or you are going to wait when we are near toward the elections? No. That's when you want to, have this dialogue.
No, we are not waiting for the elections to when they are near. We come in. But I want to tell you that very, very soon the church is sitting down with all the politicians to see to it that dialogue is done. Then each and everyone actually is at peace with each other. So the failing of dialogue, maybe it's because of when you see Reverend Zulu, then someone knows, no, that one I think supports MMD. Therefore, then the part for this youthful president knows that he supports he supports MMD. Then because of that, I won't attend that dialogue. And when he comes into the meeting, he knows that, no, this one actually supports this political party. This is why when you look at the National Day of Prayer Committee, all people that are there are new faces. Why? Because we want a person who will not be pointed a finger to say, no, I cannot go to that meeting because of ABCD. This is what we are doing as a church. So the Body of Christ is coming up with a system where they are able to bring in neutral persons to handle these issues of dialogue.
Quite interesting, Reverend. But then, come to think of it, when I think of dialogue, we have right now the PF who are alleging that they're being, persecuted. They've got all these cases, they're being accused of corruption. Do you think they'll be willing to sit down with the UPND and say, let's make peace?
It's not the sitting with UPND, but it's the sitting with the church. It's the voice of the church. How do you invite such a one? That's what matters. The way I'll talk to you matters. The way I'll talk to her matters. Then it's the way I come out myself. If that will determine if I'm able to bring the two of you together. But if the way that I come out is not good, then you find that one of you say, no, I'm not attending that meeting. So this is what the Body of Christ has worked on, to see to it that it becomes totally neutral, where the ruling party is able to not to say this is the church, where the opposition is able to not to say this is the church that is calling. Remember, as Zambia, we are a God-fearing country. Because of that, we respect God. Some will just say, okay, I'll go there for the sake of God. Then dialogue will be done.
Reverend, you have mentioned that, you have new faces in the committee now. Because you don't want anyone to say, they'll point someone a finger because I cannot attend this meeting because of such a person. But don't you think that you're somehow infringing these people's right? Because each and everyone, despite, being part of this committee, you are allowed to be aligned to a certain political party. Don't you think you're infringing their rights such that, you're denying them this opportunity of sitting in the committee because they are aligned to a certain political party? Or is it because they shouldn't support a certain political party at all?
What has happened is that the very people, the seat fathers.
Anyway, let's get this question before you finish.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
We are fine, thank you, ma'am. How are you?
Fine.
Okay, good Malanda, ma'am.
therefore, at least, but at least, let's see, CHOLERA. No matter what you say, before what you see, that you know, careful. Ubutekerero wakumakurire tomu inaka lekote tena kubaka lukiale kika that lero ino tapera twatite mwenda langa no wapasta ulete mpande kutindiza matinga kwa kupantanshi to alirukia ni amene ni kika trefa kukuwela kuzalinsa ubuteko bwe kokuyeta pamo bakapaka tutapaka mune kwekisimba twalitukala makunu mabatitangirire potrefa kwa upande kuitisa watu wakunta tukekale kanshi tukapakate kulileta nuteko kuleteka ati wakati mwana chisimama pakapakate na kulila lungu waiva yukenisi twakulatula pekile tote twakulahisa pie totrepaika wakapakate wakabongobomo wakwaleta.
Thank you so much. Okay, maybe you can just acknowledge her cause as well as, continue with our previous question.
Okay, so like what our mother was saying, that the church loves money very much. It's not every church, or let me not say about the church, but the clergy itself. It's not every clergy who is clinging to the brown envelope. This, I want to assure the nation that this is coming to an end. The era that is in now is specifically the church itself. Not pleasing the government, not pleasing the politicians, I mean the political parties or the oppositions. But the church now is coming in as a neutral body to see to it that it becomes the mother of all politicians. This is where now we are saying the country is in safe hands where the church is concerned. Now, when it comes to the comments to say no, the government should go and plead with Lungu. We did this, we did that. That's not the role where the church we can come in. I want to tell you that the way I feel is not the way you feel. The way you think is not the way I think. Therefore, this issue remains with the government itself. But us will just stand in to see to it that there is peace in the nation, there is peace among the political parties. Where we have gone wrong, where the government has gone wrong, we'll go there to the government to say, here, you have gone wrong. Where the political party has gone wrong, we'll go there to say, here, you have gone wrong. We will not please anyone. And we are not there to please any political party. That's what I can assure you.
Coming back to the committee, the selection of committee where
yes.
I mentioned, do you think if you're going to say we bring in new faces because we don't want someone to be pointed at that they used to be affiliated to these certain political parties, don't you think you're infringing their rights?
What has happened is that the very, our seat fathers are the ones who have seen to it to say no. What we have observed is that some certain political parties cannot attend meetings or can react because of us, some of us. So what we'll do is, in fact, all of us, the seat fathers, let's give the young ones or other people to play this role. But on the same side, they are the ones giving guidance to say, here, in this, don't do this, don't do that. If you do this, maybe as we did this, if you do the same, this will happen. But here, do this and do this. These are the people that are giving guidance in the background. All of them, all the seat fathers are involved in this. So we are not restraining anyone, but everyone actually is involved. Yes.
Quite interesting there, but maybe moving a bit away from the political system. Of course, people argue saying maybe the church has not done enough, but we've heard the church talking about colorism and all that. But moving away from that, we've not heard the church when it comes to the country's justice system. We've not heard the church advocating for a quick justice system. We've heard stories of people who've spent 10 years without going to court. What is the take on the church on that?
This one, what I can say is that if you remember, I had asked about persecutions.
Yes.
Also, you had mentioned about, say, other political parties are saying no because we are being persecuted because of this. What is the take of the church on this one? When it comes to justice, when the issue has reached the church has responded. It's only the issues that have not reached the church. But when the church is reached with an issue, if there is someone spending 10 years without a trial.
We've heard those stories of ordinary people, not even politicians.
No, ordinary people, not even politicians.
Yes.
Ordinary people who have not gone to court for 10 years. They're still waiting.
Yes. On that one, the issue should reach the church itself. Then the church will react.
Shouldn't the church go and monitor what is happening? Especially that Zambia is a Christian nation. The people expect, the church to be on in the forefront, advocating against injustice.
You remember there are some people that were in the custody for a long period of time. The church came in, negotiated, and spoken to the government, and then justice was done. I mean, maybe what was supposed to be done was done. So now, when it comes to ordinary people, it's because there is no one to pursue the matter. What it is that the family should find comfort to approach the church. Number one, it is the family, because the family belongs to a particular church. The family should go to the church to say, I have this issue. And then also the church now, if it fails to come in, should go to the mother body. And the mother body, if it fails now, it calls for all the mother bodies. Then the church, now the body of Christ comes in and resolve the matter. I want to tell you, us as a church, we have resolved many issues of people. Even as the Apostles' Council of Churches, we have resolved many issues of people who have been there for a long period of time without a trial. Some maybe on false accusations. Then we have come in and intervened. We are in touch with the government, both now, previous. Apostles' Council of Churches is one of the oldest mother board in Zambia. And when it comes to dialogue, Apostles' Council of Churches has been there. So this issue actually calls for the family. If I want to appeal, if there is a family that feels like someone is out there in the cells, in remand for a long period of time, please go to the church. Let the church, if it fails, go to the mother body. And the mother body knows what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, Reverend, some people do not have families. Maybe someone is just picked up in CHOLERA. They don't have that family to advocate for them. But what I mean is, really, how attainable is it that every family should come to the church? Since the church knows what is happening, shouldn't we see, peaceful march pasts advocating for, a change in the justice system?
That's what I said, to say the church should not run to the media. Mm-hmm. The church, when it comes to that action, it's very difficult where the person is in remand, there is no family for the church to know. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes men do that, meanwhile there is no one who's been there without a trial.
They are there. We see them as journalists. So what you mean advocating, yes, maybe match pasts and all
so
that?
You journalists now, what you should do is approach. If you know the issue, if you have seen the issue, come to the church. Mm-hmm. Then the church will be able to come in. I want to give an example. There was a time that I was in, I went to Lusaka Central Correctional Center. When I was there, seeing this person, then another person was there to say, sir, I have been here almost for close to 1 year without a trial. We came in as a church. We saw to it, and that person was not even a Zambian. Mm. But we came in as a church and helped that person until trial was done. There are a number of cases. I think we had someone in Ikawe, in the Copper Belt, where we intervened to say no. As the council, I think we feel like this is not right. What you should do is ABCD, mm-hmm, and the case was a speed up. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now moving away from that, just to take you a little back. Have we seen the church coming in, to talk mainly on issues of tribalism? We have seen certain individuals. I'll keep on referring back to the 2021 general election. Prior to that, we saw a lot of people, issuing these tribal remarks. And recently, I think yesterday, we saw one of the opposition political leader being arrested because he issued this hate speech. Have we seen the church having a voice on that in terms of, bringing together citizens and telling them, the dangers of issuing these tribal remarks against certain tribes? In
certain areas, what I want to tell you is that there there are sometimes when a person feels like he can do anything. He can do anything. He doesn't care. When a person reaches to I don't care, needs counsel, needs help, this is where the church comes in. Because the tone of a person, the way a person speaks, you'll be able to tell where this person has reached and what are the issues. Therefore, the church should come in to sit down with the church and ask, where is the problem? What is the problem? Then iron the problem. Then this tribal remarks, hate speech will end. But where the church comes into the media to say, no, what this one said was wrong, you are not supposed to do that person, instead of changing, he will react also, you go back to the media and speak even more. That's what is happening in the nation of Zambia. So I appeal to the body of Christ. It's our duty. When you see tribal remarks in the nation, or somebody speaking about something which is not in line with the Zambia Christian nation, we sit down with such a one. I want to tell you that each and every politician in Zambia belongs to a church. It's the duty of the pastor now to call the son or the daughter to say, my daughter, what is the problem? If the problem is with someone, speak with that one. Get to know that one. Because that other person also belongs to another church. Then the two pastors, let them sit down and say, here there is a problem. My son has got this issue. How do we resolve? If they fail now, they come to the governing board of the Board of Christ, where the church mother bodies are coming in, where the National Day of Prayer Committee is concerned. We are there for the nation. So before you continue, let me talk about the tribal remarks. You know, the danger of tribal remarks will bring war, civil war in the nation. That's the danger. Because the nation will be divided. I, from Eastern Province, I begin to speak against the Tongas. Then the Tongas also speak against the Easterners. Then at the end of the day, the war line will be drawn. This is why we need to discourage tribal remarks. But I thank God for the church, because we have come in. Every now and then come to our church. You will see everybody equal. Then also, even the happenings in church, you'll be able to say, this is one Zambia, one nation. Yes.
Reverend, I bet to somehow disagree with you. We haven't seen the church coming out strongly to condemn about these tribal remarks being issued, because, you know, we have seen people continuing issuing these hateful speech against certain tribes. We haven't seen much of the church, you know, talking about or condemning this, given the fact that, considering the fact that these statements are such that divide the nation and causes this confusion.
Yes, that I want to agree with you. This is where I'm saying the church should do much on this one. The way forward for this one is the pastor, where this politician goes, whether it's Catholic, whether it's a Pentecostal church, let them meet and have dialogue. If I see that my son in the church, one of the members in church, is doing this, I have to go there to call that person, come here, sit down. What is this that you are doing? Where is the problem? He will explain. After explaining, then I will say, okay, where does this person go? We will determine in the church where that person goes, the opponent. Then we'll talk to the pastor of that person. Then let the men of God engage. Then also now bring these two together, sit them down, then you'll see peace. But where no, it's the issue of the media alone will not resolve anything. This one, I want to tell you that the church actually has not done much, and the church should do much. The only way is to engage the pastors where these people are coming from.
Now, Reverend, even as we go towards concluding, you know, on this topic, you know, we haven't really seen the church talking much about, you know, the violence that is caused by cadres. It can be in markets, it can be on the political scene. Really, what is the stance of the church on how we can actually end, you know, such vices?
When it comes to cadreism, actually, the problem is that we can't talk about the church. We can talk about the church because the leaders are coming from the churches. But what these cadres do, I mean, what these politicians do is they go into the streets, get people who are unruly, then now they dish them out money. So now it's to teach the politicians the danger of engaging people who do not know God, because a person who does not know God can do anything. At one point I was coming from somewhere, then I was in Intercity where this group of people said, no, help us, because if not, we'll be taken up by a certain politician to go. They said we are going to war. We are going to war. I said, are you going out of the nation of Zambia? I said, no, in Zambia, we are going to war. I said, which war? He said, no, we are going to, is it Matero? We are going to Matero. So our boss is coming to pick us. And if we are not, if he does not find us ready, it means we are in trouble. So if you give us something, then we'll go home. Then I was forced to get the money that I have and give these people so that they can go home. I'm sure on that day, their boss found that the numbers is reduced. So that's what is happening. But look at these people, are very good people. When you see them in church, you say, this is an elder, or this is a leader. But what they are doing behind something else, this is where teaching much should be done to our politicians.
Yes, as we go toward the conclusion of our program, do you think politicians are taking advantage of youths and, pushing them toward this violence act?
Yes, that's what is happening. Because you know what it is that even good people, good youths, people are searching for employment, people are searching for business, people are searching for money. And then someone comes to say, here is the money, go and do this. This is where now the youth comes in. Then the politicians are taking their weakness for money to do what they want to do. Therefore, our teaching as a church should be much on the politicians, especially the leaders, because they are the ones who are responsible. They are the ones who are engaging the youth to do such things. Because if that youth is brought up with that mentality, even if he becomes a father, that is already in the mind. It means we are raising a generation of cadres, of distractors, of killers, because they can do anything because of money.
Your concluding remarks, Reverend, what are the people of Zambia expecting to see this year and the coming years from the church mother bodies, as well as what are you, the church mother bodies, expecting from government?
In conclusion, the expectation of the nation over the body of Christ, I want to tell you that should be much. And the church, for the first time in 2022, we saw all the churches in Zambia coming together as one, where you saw Seventh Day coming for the National Day of Prayer, being in the running of the committees, the Salvation Army, such a kind. Because by then it was only for Pentecostals. But now we have involved all if you can see the Seventh Day, the Salvation Army, the Pentecostal, and all these churches together, I want to tell you that the nation now is in safe hands where the church is concerned. Therefore, I want to assure the nation that Zambia is a Christian nation, and the Christians are the church, the body of Christ, the mother bodies are running this nation. Then also, like the Apostles' Council of Churches in the beginning, I was talking about the founding church. The founding church is not apostolic church, but it's Apostolic Holy Gospel Church. It's a Pentecostal church. Yes, that's the founding church, but we are more than 700 now, the churches altogether.
Quite interesting there. Thank you for joining us, Reverend, on this show, and I'm sure it was a very interesting topic for our viewers as well out there.
Amen. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you. As the body of Christ, we are praying for the government of the day. We are praying for the political parties. But as it is, when we work with the government, don't say no. We are supporting the government of the day, or we are part of the government of the day. But it's our role to work with the government of the day, and also to see to it that we work with the political parties that are in peace with the government.
quite interesting there. So that was the Apostles Council of Churches Programs Director, Reverend Moana Zulu, who was just helping us discuss the role of the church in governance. Thank you for the viewers there who participated by calling, as well as those who left us messages on Facebook. Do remember to join Miriam Kaimba and myself tomorrow as we take you in other interesting topics. But have a wonderful Monday.